Hello, welcome to Cthulhu Reviews. As you can see in front of you, I've got the SPQR Revised Edition Starter Set. Now, this is the first SPQR thing I've got. I didn't get any of the original wave of releases, but pick this up. So fancy something a bit different to paint. Obviously, I've been doing loads of American Civil War, Black Powder, 13mm, the Epic Battle System. I've got a 6mm Ancients Army. I've always loved Ancients, but I've got 3 Ancients Armies. Old Republican Army, Carthage and Celts. I was fancying something a bit different to paint, some 28mm miniatures. I saw this as a starter set and I thought it's a great way to get the SPQR rules and some miniatures together. It's also a great way to dip my toe into infamy as well. So opening up the box, this is just a box lid. I've already got the box open. You've got the rule book, sits on top, and this is a beast of a book. Give you an idea, that's my pinky finger. So it's got a bit of size to it. It comes in at just over about 200 pages. I'm going to talk about my thoughts about this in a wee bit. I've had a read through that as well. So, wee piece of card. You may not think this is important. It sits rule book on it. It's a quick reference sheet, but it also works at stopping the sprues damaging the book and the book damaging the sprues. Now inside, I'm going to start with the Celts first. So there's 2 types of Celt sprue. Basic warrior sprue. 10 bodies, 10 sets of legs, some shields, some weapons, and the heads. And this works in conjunction with a command sprue. And the command sprue, same sort of format, some shields, some weapons, no heads, share the heads with the other sprue. You've also got some banners, some special editions for helmets, severed heads, and a caranx as well. I think that's how it's pronounced. So you've got 40 of these fellas. Now I used to have a couple of years ago, and I found some miniatures, so I've been able to paint these up while I was waiting for these to turn up. And I actually really like these miniatures. This guy here, autofocus isn't working. I'll do a video on these once I've got them all fully done. But I say, for Celts, barbarians, pretty nice models. The other thing you're getting in here are some bases. Tons of bases. Now, the other thing I was interested in this set is some of the pieces is Warlord plastic. Warlord resin, I should say. And I've not picked any of these up. So, and you've got 12 archers. So, it's got a bit of bend in it. It's coming back into shape quite nicely. Looking at the archers, I've got none of these guys where the bows are out of shape. It's been cast quite nicely. The thing about resin, I don't know if this is true. Maybe it's not as reflective as metal, but it always seems to catch more detail. So a bit of work cleaning them up. Like this guy here has got a tuft coming from his hair. So I'll let you know how they paint up. So yeah, 12 archers. So straight away, that's 52 Celtic miniatures. I don't know if I showed off earlier. You've got decals for the shields as well. I could do a wee video on how to do decals. Decals are dead easy if you know how to do it. If you don't know how to do it, you can make a mess of it. And you've got some for the Roman shields. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 by 4, 24. 24 there. So the other thing you've got is there's not enough plastic heads for the 40 miniatures with the way they've packaged the sprues. So we've got a wee sprue of Warlord resin heads. There's 10 there, which will take 15, 15, 30. And you've got some shields as well. These feel really weird because they're quite, for shields, if you use the plastic shields, not given these guys to actually have a bit of bend to them, and they feel a bit sort of plastic, almost rubbery. So yeah, tons of shields there. So that is the Celt side of things. For the Romans, you've got 16 legionnaires, and there's 2 sets of these. There's legionnaires with pilums, which will be these sprues here. You see 4 pilums, 4 bodies, 6 heads and 4 shields. And the Caesarian Romans, if you see, they're different to the Imperial Romans, which use Lodicus segmentum. These have got chainmail and simple helmets. And you also get 8 sprues with gladius and slings. So gladius, some slings, a couple of slings there. Same basic design for the helmets and the armour. Interesting about slings, I don't fancy my legionnaires armed with slings, so I'm going to see, since it's plastic, using some of those slings to create some Celtic slingers. Celtic skirmishers basically came in slingers or javelins. Celtic armies would use archers, not in as many numbers as slingers or javelin men. Certainly, say Vercingetorix had a detachment of archers with them. So the archers aren't historically inaccurate, but I would like some slingers. And actually, with the Celtic sprues themselves, there's a few javelins on the sprues, and actually there's a shield where you've got a couple of javelins already on it. So you can make some javelin men. If you can make up some slingers, I can make a couple more Celtic light units coming up. Other thing, you've got some dice. I've got hundreds of dice now. You've got some cards. I presume these will be for the miniatures in the box and the rules for them. I'll pull them out for later when I talk about how the system works. And then you've got the stat set heroes from the box. I love hopefully autofocus. It's quite bright, so I'm struggling to see my camera screen, but yeah, I love that miniature. Really nice looking chieftain. It's also quite good to see Celtic chieftain without a severed head in his hand. And the Roman, he's looking quite officerish as well. A Roman military commander. Now I did notice, so the Roman legionaries are kind of hunched over in the attack pose, whereas the officer next to him looks a bit like a giant in comparison to his legionnaires. So anyway, let's quick talk about the rules themselves. Most of this rule book is taken up with the warbands, and there's tons here. From ancient Greece, Athens, Macedonia, Spartan, Thebes, Persia, Iberia, Germania, Britain, Imperial Rome, Caesar's legions, Gaul, Dacia and Sarmatia. So yeah, tons of army lists, and with each army list you've got scenarios which fit the armies fighting them as well. So even as just an idea for setting up battles with your chosen armies, if you're using it for another set of rules, that gives you a good idea as well. The rules are dead simple. So from what I can tell, fighting units, as you can see on the bottom, move, how far you can move. Now ranged and melee have plus numbers, agility, bravery plus numbers, and armors plus numbers. So basic system is, when you need to roll a dice, take a test, you'll roll a dice and add the plus number to it. If you score 6 or more, you've got a pass. If you roll less than 6, you haven't got a pass. Melee dice, how many dice you roll in melee, and wounds, how many unsaved wounds you can take. Your heroes, it's based around the idea of warbands, so it's heroes leading warbands, so your heroes also have special abilities as well. And like I say, the melee rules, shooting rules, appear on like 2 pages. I think it's just, in the basic rules is about 8 pages, dead simple. Now, constructing a warband, You buy your troops in units, and they're between 5 and 20. If you have over 10 in a unit, it's known as a large unit, so there's some rules affecting them, so they're harder to hit with shooting attacks, for example. Now, my worry with, and there's no, from what I can see, there's no sort of core infantry requirements for the army. So, for example, Republican Rome, if you wanted to, you could just have a force of Praetorian Guard and cavalry with your leaders. I think that's fine. It allows players to build the armies they want to. I don't know what it would do for game balance in itself. Certainly, army lists and rules exist. There's three primary reasons. One is to help you field a collection. One is to help you have a balanced game. And the other is to reflect history. So that by having a system where you've got totally free choices like this, I don't know how much it helps game balance, and I don't know how much it helps history. And actually, companies like Warlord gets played all over the place. This is a game I should be able to take to the club and feel like I'm having a fair fight against a stranger. Certainly with my pals and playing myself and stuff, I'm quite happy to use my own rules and methodology for constructing my warbands. Perhaps it'll work out fine. Perhaps I'm just seeing problems where potentially there is no problems. But that's always a concern of mine when I see army construction as basic as this. However, there are upsides to it, and the upsides are you can buy a box of models and you're not going to have any excess models you can't use. So, for example, the Caesarian Roman Legion normally comes in boxes of 20, or maybe that's Imperial Romans. So if you had a rule set that said, right, your units are 8 plus, well, I'd get 2 units out of there, 16, and then I've got 4 guys I can't use. So this system here of allowing you to choose how big your units are going to be, 5 to 20, does potentially allow min-maxes an advantage, but it also means that as a company, whatever size of box of models, however many models you have in the box, the player who buys that box of models should be able to use them all in his force, depending on the points, of course. So yeah, it's a really nice, throughout the rule book, you've got the artwork, which is, I think, from the covers of the Warlord boxes, the kind of Osprey looking artwork. You've got, there you go, I think that's from the auxiliary. It's full colour throughout, it's really nice. This picture here, pictures like this throughout, pictures of models. Now this does highlight one of my bugbears for rules and armies. So that picture there I showed you was a Macedonian force, but there aren't many pictures of like a full force. Loads of pictures like this. Again, really nice, focused on the models. But when I open a book like this, I want to see, maybe it's just me, but I want to see a picture of army set up for a game. What does, so if you say 500 points denaries is a game that'll take an hour, what does that look like on the tabletop? What informs that? If you say 1,000 points, what does that look like? I think Battlefront with Flames of War has done that really well. With they always seem to have, this is X person's army, this is what he's done, this is what he's picked, this is how he's helped picked it. I like to see those in the rule book. But anyway, like I say, and being a simple set of rules, this is a really simple set of rules. That doesn't make it a bad thing either. I've got a lot of sort of casual or non-wargaming friends. I tend to do both armies when I do a force. So having a simple set of rules that can get their teeth into and understand quickly means I can put 2 forces on the table and we can have a game. And I know there are other rule sets out there which are a bit more detailed. Skirmish rules. Actually, skirmish rules come in one of 2 flavours. It can either become really complex or really simple. And it's good to have both options out there so you can pick the one you want for the time you want to do it, for what you want to get out the game. And again, I'm going to finally leave with showing off this model, which from the box, I totally love them. But anyway, that's my unboxing and thoughts on SPQR, what I've seen. I am going to be picking up Infamy and doing some stuff with that, so I'll be able to compare the two rule sets as well, which will be really interesting to see and really interesting to do. Where I'm going to expand from this, I've got another box of Celts coming in. With the Celts I already had, that'll take me up to about 92 Celts. Some Bowmen, convert up some Slingers, and some Javelin units. I'm going to order up a box of Victrix Heavy Gothic Cavalry. So that'll give us 12 of those. So for Infamy, I can use 2 units for this. I've got 0 to 12 to use. And I'm going to get some of the Victrix Chariots as well, so I can do some Ancient British Chariots. So I'll be able to use the forces Ancient British or Gauls. For the Syrian Romans, I've got some Balearic Slingers coming in from Warlord. And I'm probably going to get some Iberian Cavalry to reinforce the Caesarian Romans as well, and I've got another box of Caesarian Romans. So actually, for both sides, I'll have just over 100 Celts, 50-60 Romans on the table. So that will be a decent amount of troops for decent skirmish. And actually, ancient stuff at 28mm, I can paint these really quickly because they tend to have less straps on their armour. Napoleonics tend to be a lot slower to paint because of all the cross belts and straps and canteens and stuff they've got on them. If I take a Celt like this, hopefully I'll focus. You know, I've got his trousers and I've got a naked torso. You know, shield decal to put on. Paint up really quickly. So anyway, that's my thoughts on SPQR. Let me know yours. I hope you are having a great time wargaming at the moment. Let us know how you're getting on. Any questions, fire them away. And that's bye for now. Goodbye.